Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale video game figure unboxing and review video. Now today we are taking a look at something that's becoming exceedingly rare. This is, as far as I'm aware, the only 1/6 scale officially licensed Sub-Zero release. It was made by Worldbox all the way back in 2016. This actually happens to be the second version, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. Now I do have to say a massive thank you to Rob from Rob's Reviews for agreeing to sell me this guy, because as I said, he's getting relatively hard to find. I have seen all the comments, you'll want to see more Mortal Kombat stuff on the channel, so we'll be starting off with Sub-Zero, and then we'll be reviewing the 1/6 scale Scorpion, which I'm super excited about, and maybe also Kung Lao if that's something you'd like to see. Let me know down in the comments below. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here of course we have the box art for Sub-Zero. Now this specifically is the brother version. So in the story of Mortal Kombat, the original Sub-Zero, Bi-Han, was killed, and his brother Kuai Liang takes up the mantle of Sub-Zero. We do get head sculpts for both different versions of the character in this box. We do have an image of the figure right up here on the front, another image on the side, and a massive honkin' Mortal Kombat logo on the back here. Now this is actually a rather oversized box, so to save having to try and wrangle this thing on camera, here we have Sub-Zero himself in all his glory. Now this is, as I said in the intro, a release from 2016, so it is a old style figure. So we will be noticing that when we take a look at some interesting choices Worldbox may have made when it came to the creation of this release. But here we have Sub-Zero himself, and first in-hand impressions are pretty positive. I like the way he looks. He does have a very hefty, sturdy feel about him. Now, as you can see, he does come with a bunch of stuff. So what we are going to do now is get all of Sub-Zero's accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all the bits and pieces that come with Sub-Zero. First of all, it's worth noting he doesn't come with a display base. A huge missed opportunity in my opinion. They could have gone all out with a beautiful, intricate snow/ice themed diorama base, but unfortunately they didn't. Let's talk about what he does come with though. The first pieces are mostly for his outfit. These are his gauntlets. They look suitably metallic, they are nicely painted, sculpted and detailed all the way around. He does come with these pieces, which actually go on his biceps. They are nice little demon style faces, again painted and sculpted very nicely. They've even painted these little straps and buckles on the inside there. He does come with an additional piece that has this frosty ice themed effect on there. That actually goes along with this hand, which looks absolutely stunning. It actually looks like an ice-ridden frosty hand. I think they've nailed this effect. Now, if you do go for the first version of Sub-Zero, you do miss out on one head sculpt, but you do actually get some more weapons, his ice sword and stuff like that. This guy, unfortunately, doesn't come with those pieces. You get another head sculpt. More on that in just a second. As for the regular hands, they are done in just the basic style with a fleshy skin tone and then some paint applications on the back to give it a nice dry brushed metallic look. You also get this frozen head sculpt. You can use this on your Kung Lao figure because technically that's who it's supposed to be. Or it also comes with an absolutely disgusting, gnarly, severed neck. It does have articulation, of course, because it is actually a full-on head sculpt, and the detail does look eerily creepy and realistic. You do have the frosty effect, the blood trickling down. Yes, it is a very nasty, gnarly piece, but it's a Mortal Kombat figure. This really does do the job for me personally. Now you do get two different head sculpts. This one is the Bi-Han head sculpt. This one is the Kuai Liang head sculpt. It's his younger brother, who later on, as I said, takes up the mantle of Sub-Zero. They are pretty much the exact same sculpt, except this one has the whited out eyes, the scratch over the top, and his mask section is a lot dirtier. You can see a wash over the top, whereas the Bi-Han version has the really nice piercing blue eyes and a much cleaner skull cap type piece. The paint on the masks are identical, they are sculpted and painted very, very nicely. I personally am leaning towards this head sculpt right here, but I'm curious, which is your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. What we are going to do now though is get Sub-Zero himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And yeah, that's everyone's favorite Ice Ninja. He looks like a total badass, even though the body is starting to degrade a little bit. More on that in just a second. He overall looks and feels like a heavy-duty, hefty boy. The proportions are about right, the sculpt and paint applications are fantastic, and the outfit might just be my favorite outfit for Sub-Zero. This happens to be his Mortal Kombat 9 design. The same thing for Scorpion when we eventually review him. Overall though, this guy looks fantastic. I don't know why it's taken me this long to hunt him down, but I'm super glad I now have him in hand. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. And here we have him up close and personal. I do have my Sub-Zero currently wearing the brother head sculpt, or the Kuai Liang sculpt. You did see this up close, I know, in the accessory segment, but it's worth looking at once again. It looks really good. I love the texture of the mask, the skin is really nicely done, and I do love that scar, that gash across the eye there. Now, this figure is an older release, therefore stuff is starting to happen that's not so ideal. What am I talking about? Well, first of all, to slide the belt down, the pleather is starting to deteriorate. You can see it's falling away up here, on the front there. On the back as well, there are various sections which I'm getting a little bit worried about. I will, at some point, have to see about replacing this pleather style material on the figure, but for now at least, if I pull the belt up, it hides that damage. The second thing is the body. You can't tell on camera obviously, but hopefully this sort of shiny look gives it away. The plastic is starting to deteriorate and it's getting a little bit goopy and sticky. It feels horrible in hand. Luckily the hands themselves are perfectly fine, so all I have to do is switch out the body. I do have two different choices for bodies here, the first of which is a Phicen M34. And as you can see, I think it is slightly too big for Sub-Zero, so the one I think I'm going to go with is the Phicen M33. As you can see, the biceps are around the same size, he's roughly around the same width, so definitely stay tuned to see what that looks like, because I think it's going to be a really solid upgrade. As for the detail on the suit itself, yeah, it looks really good. It would have looked even better without the leather deterioration, mind you, but it is still done really nicely. I like this subtle spray effect, kind of like ice has gotten on this little front tabard piece. These all look like a nice metallic paint, and they are dotted around the suit. He does have a couple more bits of armor, which you will see on him later in the video. I just didn't want to put them on this overly sticky body and get them all gross and nasty. Now there's one other thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and it's these wrist wrappings. They are on Scorpion as well, so when we review him you'll see that. They're actually just black duct tape. I don't like that. I won't be transferring them to the new body. I'll just be using his wrist gauntlet piece because these are also starting to get really sticky and coming away from the arms themselves. As for the pants, they are a black loose-fitting pant with a blue stripe down the edge. Of course, it's Sub-Zero, we need a little bit of blue in there. Lastly, down here on the feet, we have a really nicely, intricately designed boot section with the wrappings over the top, and my favorite, a split-cut boot design for the ninja style foot. There's even a strap that goes around the bottom. It's not a real strap, obviously, but it gives you the illusion of this being tied around his foot. Overall, I still love the way this guy looks. It's just that he is starting to degrade. Nothing lasts forever, obviously. He did come out in 2016, but I will be trying my best to get this guy up to a standard which is representative of his former glory. Just going over articulation on Sub-Zero. Now bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Also, due to the leather being slightly more prone to flaking, I'm not going to push the torso area, I hope you understand. Starting off with the head sculpt itself, it is on a ball joint, which gives you a pretty darn nice range of motion in almost all directions. The arms themselves will go up to about there. They will of course go forward the full way. I don't really feel a butterfly joint at the shoulder. There is a single bend at the elbow that incorporates a swivel, and a ball joint, of course, at the wrist. As for the torso, I can imagine there would be a cut across the top, but I don't want to damage the pleather any further, so I'm not going to push it. The legs themselves will go forward to about there. They will go out pretty much to there. There is a swivel at the upper thigh, a double bend at the knee, and of course a ball joint down here at the ankle. Now unfortunately, after that articulation segment, the pleather literally started falling off in my hands. So now we are left with Sub-Zero's outfit being this greyish colour. It's not blue as it should be. Now I do have a potential fix. It's this stuff, the Angelus brand collector edition acrylic leather paint, and I chose mid-navy. This stuff is meant to replicate a pleathery style surface. It's an acrylic paint, so it should be a little bit forgiving and potentially a little bit stretchy as well. So I will be applying a few coats onto this to see if I can repair it. And then on top of that, we do have a matte acrylic finisher, because of course we want it to be a matte finish, not a shiny pleather. So hopefully these two products combined can restore this piece to its former glory. And here we have him a couple of days later after the paint has fully dried and cured and set. And I have to say, I personally am really happy with the results here. It has this pleathery style finish, but it is completely bendable and flexible, and even if it does crack sometime down the line, I can simply just start again, do another repaint. It has the right look, and it does feel pretty darn good and sturdy as well. So, potentially, if you do have another figure that has the very same issue, the pleather is peeling and flaking off, this could be a potential fix. Let me know what you think of the fix, though, down in the comments below. Also, at the same time, because I was dismantling him, I thought I'd go with the M33 body. I switched him onto it, which was a non-trivial task, but everything seems to fit really, really nicely. And I have to say, I am really happy with how he looks now. Plus, the articulation is massively improved, specifically, obviously, with the arms that can now go way past 90, and he looks super duper realistic. Don't worry, you'll see the proportions a lot better when we zoom out and wrap up the video in just a sec. But overall, yeah, after the mods and the fix on the pleather, even though it doesn't have that same white speckling effect down here anymore, I could very easily add that with an airbrush and some white acrylic paint. I'm still super happy with the end result. Now for our quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Sub-Zero on the left and Scorpion on the right. They both look absolutely fantastic. Yes, I did have to put a lot of work specifically into Sub-Zero to get him to look as good as he does, with the body swap and also having to repair the pleather, But at the end of the day, having these two standing side by side, I can unequivocally say that it was worth it. They look awesome standing together. Classic Mortal Kombat rivals can now be pitted against each other on the shelf, which is what I plan to do with these two because yeah, they look totally awesome. Just wrapping up on the Worldbox Mortal Kombat 9 version of Sub-Zero. Now that he's had his Phicen swap, I don't really know how to sum this up, because as you get him out of the box, he still looks relatively decent. The articulation, however, is hindered. He also had that issue where his body was starting to degrade and get sticky and gross, and also the duct tape on the forearms didn't really scream high quality to me. Now that I've switched the body out, however, I really do love it. He looks fantastic, far and away more realistic. Now that I've fixed the pleather flaking issue as well, obviously he looks way better. So I don't know if I can necessarily recommend him fresh out of the box if you don't want to do any mods at all. I think this figure does benefit from having a couple of things tweaked and changed here and there. And unfortunately, a friend of mine recently picked up a Sub-Zero as well, and he also had the flaking issue, so I think it's a pretty widespread thing with this particular figure. He works well on his own, but I personally do love seeing him side by side with Scorpion, whose review will be coming up very soon on the channel. Now, if you are looking to pick up Sub-Zero, I do believe he's a little bit easier to find than Scorpion. But that being said, they are both long since sold out, so you will have to scour eBay and your local Facebook buy-sell groups. Unfortunately, I don't have any links to put in the description down below, so if you do find one, snatch him up. If you are looking to chat figures and share photos of your collection, however, head over to 6 Scale Network, the awesome Facebook group. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.